So I love watching Christian content. I watch a lot of good videos, man. Then I watch some stuff that don't always make sense to me. You know, I don't feel that because someone says they got a vision from the Lord or whatever, that we have to automatically accept what that person has said, especially when what they're saying can't be found in the Bible or contradicts the Bible. So I've been watching these videos lately of people talking about people doing witchcraft over your food. Now, a lot of these videos will say, hey, you should pray over any food you eat. And I agree with that. Okay. That's something I used to do. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't really done in the last couple of years. I don't know why. I'm going to start back doing it. But that's just one aspect of some of these videos that doesn't really make sense to me. Okay. They'll say, hey, these people in these restaurants, the people who own these restaurants are witches and they're doing witchcraft over your food. Okay. Now, granted, you could definitely have people who are into witchcraft who own restaurants. Okay. You could have workers who work there who are doing witchcraft, and the owners of these restaurants don't even know. Okay. But the thing I find interesting is most of these videos, all they ever talk about is food from restaurants. And they'll say, oh, you need to cook your own food. You need to go to the supermarket and cook your own food. Stop eating that restaurant food. They're doing witchcraft on it. It's evil. It's demonic and blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the thing, man. If you got people who are doing witchcraft working at these restaurants, what's stopping these same people who are doing witchcraft from going out there buying a supermarket and doing witchcraft over the food? What's stopping people from going putting in an application to go work in a supermarket and doing witchcraft over your food? I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't think it's hard to get a supermarket job. Okay, I don't think you have to have 2 and 3 degrees to get that job. I'm sorry. Okay, a ton of work experience. Nah. So, matter of fact, you could just have somebody who wants to do witchcraft who doesn't work at that store and doesn't own it, who could just walk in off the street. Um, Supermarkets are, for the most part, the majority of them are open access. Pretty much anybody can walk in. Okay, anybody can walk in and do all kind of spells and rituals and stuff, probably without anybody noticing. Okay, so if I have to worry about somebody at a restaurant doing witchcraft over my food, then I have to worry about the same thing in a supermarket. Okay, there's nothing stopping anybody from going to a grocery store and doing witchcraft over the food there. But they hardly ever say that. These videos never say that. They just talk about the restaurants. Oh, don't eat this restaurant food. Cook your food at home. It makes me wonder, did you actually get a vision from the Lord who told you this? Or do you just have an issue with restaurant food? Fast food joints and restaurants. Okay. Maybe it's an issue there. Okay. Maybe you just deep down want to tell people that they should cook their own food instead of eating out. Okay. Also, if you really think about it, okay, what's also stopping the people who do witchcraft from going to work in factories, okay, and doing witchcraft over all the processed food that we eat that ends up in the supermarkets, okay? Matter of fact, they don't have to even go to the grocery store or the supermarket. They can just go work at the factory and do witchcraft over the processed food there, okay? Okay, what's stopping somebody from who's into sorcery and witchcraft from buying a factory or getting a factory job and doing all this witchcraft over all this processed food we eat? What's stopping them from doing that? Matter of fact, man, let's get real deep with it. Okay, what's stopping these people who are into witchcraft? Okay, from going to work at a farm? Okay, and doing putting spells over all the crops. Okay, what's stopping them from doing that? What's stopping them from buying a farm? Okay, I don't know how you buy a farm, whatever. What's stopping them from buying a farm and going through that process? I'm certain if these people have all this powers in the occult and witchcraft, that they can figure it out. They can get the money and the resources and the connections to go out there and get them a farm. You know what I'm saying? But matter of fact, dude, they don't have to even do all that. What's stopping the people who do witchcraft and who are into the occult from going to some of these farms and getting a job there? I'm going to assume that it's not that hard to get a job picking crops. Or maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to assume it's not that hard. And since they know all this witchcraft, I'm pretty certain they got a leg up anyways. What's stopping them from doing witchcraft and casting spells over the crops? What's stopping them from, putting spells, doing spells over the livestock? Okay, you never hear about that. I mean, dude, if you really think about it, there are so many people who have access to your food beyond just somebody at a restaurant. Okay, you got people who are involved with your food in these grocery stores, in these factories, at the farm. I mean, you probably got tons of people who deal with your food before you get it. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say these people are not having these visions and the Lord is not telling them that. I just find it odd, that they had these visions where they say God gave them a vision about, people doing witchcraft in the restaurants, but that these people in the occult and these people doing all this witchcraft don't have enough sense to realize that they can do the same thing in the supermarkets. They don't have enough sense to realize they can go do the same, cast the same spells over your food in the factories or go to the farm and do it. It don't make much sense to me, man. I'm going to say this. Um, I'm not going to say these people are wrong. Okay. Maybe there are some people out there doing witchcraft at these restaurants, but I don't know. It just seems interesting to me that, they're never talking about all these other places where people have access to the stuff that you eat. Okay. Um, it just kind of leads me to think that all they keep saying is restaurants, restaurants, restaurants. Cook your own food. Cook your own food. You mean the food that I get from the grocery store that the same people doing witchcraft can have access to? The food that I eat from a factory that other people who have access to, who they could be casting spells on it? Okay, the food I'm getting from the farm, that the same witches could be going to the farm casting over spells over the crops and the livestock. It doesn't really make sense to me, man. Okay, I just feel like it's an anti-restaurant thing that they don't want people to eat at restaurants and they want to tell you to cook your own food, even though the food you cooking is somebody else is having access to that food. The only food you honestly could say that's 100% free from anybody doing anything to it would have to be crops that you grow yourself. So now, yeah, you'd have to tell people to go out there and basically grow their own crops. Okay, they have to grow their own crops, and then on top of that, they'd have to raise their own livestock. Okay, because hey, if I'm eating if I'm eating food from a grocery store and that meat came from a farm, how do I know they ain't put no curses or spells and do witchcraft over the livestock there or the crops there? Okay. Matter of fact, let's not even go that deep. Let's say I don't have to work at a farm or a factory, okay, or a restaurant. Let's say I'm a dude into the occult and I do witchcraft. I got all my gear and I drive the trucks. Okay. I drive the trucks that deliver this food to the grocery store, to the from the pick the food up, the processed food from the factories, or I drop off the food to the restaurant. Well, I could be doing witchcraft and putting spells over your food then. Okay. It don't have to even be the people in the restaurants, the supermarkets, or the factories, or on a farm. I could be doing it. I could be the dude who's driving a truck delivering that stuff, who's putting all the spells on it. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm not saying these dudes are wrong. I'm just saying that they keep talking about this one point of entry, the restaurants, but not all these other people, places, and things such who have access to your food. Okay. I don't know, man. You should pray over anything that you eat, but I kind of wonder if this one is fear mongering. Okay. Like I said, the only way to be 100% certain is to grow your own food and raise your own livestock. Okay. How many people are really going to do that? Okay. How many people have enough land to grow enough crops to feed themselves all year round, and they have the actual land to raise livestock on. And like I said, you telling somebody not to eat at a restaurant is kind of a joke to me, because the same witchcraft, you know, and sorcery and spells, to me, can be done other places. Like I said, supermarket, the factory, the farm, the dude driving the truck, delivering the stuff. Yeah, any place, man. I don't know. I think, like I said, I think to me this is just some fear mongering. Pray over anything you eat, and that's just it. Trust in the Lord.